Uzbekistan, a land less traveled, but full of surprises. Have you ever wondered what secrets Uzbekistan holds? What incredible sights and stories could come from such a historic place? How do the landscapes, the culture, and the traditions of this fascinating country come together to tell a story of beauty, resilience, and adventure? Stay tuned as we explore the answer to these questions and unveil 10 amazing facts about Uzbekistan. But before we get started, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe and leave a comment below. We'd love to hear from you. Number 1, Samarkand Ulugbek's Observatory is a really cool place that takes us back to the 15th century. Imagine living in a time without smartphones, computers, or even simple calculators. Now think about Ulugbek, a prince who was also a super smart astronomer. He decided to build something amazing, an observatory. And this wasn't just any observatory. It was ahead of its time, filled with big instruments that helped people look at the sky in ways they never could before. These tools were so good that they could measure how the stars and planets moved with incredible accuracy. One of the most mind-blowing things Ulugbek and his team did was figure out how long a year is. And you know what? They got it almost perfectly right, only off by a few seconds. It was like Ulugbek was the superstar scientist of his time, helping us understand more about the universe. The observatory in Samarkand shows us just how advanced people were in the past and reminds us of the incredible things humans can achieve when they're curious about the world around them. Number 2, Khiva is a historical town surrounded by huge, thick walls that have been standing for hundreds of years. It's not just any old place. Azkala is a special spot that the whole world recognizes as important. That's why it's called a UNESCO World Heritage Site, kind of like getting a gold star for being super special in history and culture. Now, why is Azkala such a cool place? Well, back in the day, it was a bustling trade post on the Silk Road. Imagine a place alive with merchants from far-off lands, camels loaded with goods like silk, spices, and jewels, all passing through those gates. The streets of Azkala were filled with the sounds and smells of different cultures mixing together. What's really amazing is how well preserved Azkala is. You can walk through the town today and see buildings, mosques, and places that look much like they did hundreds of years ago. It's like the people who lived there just stepped out for a moment. Visiting Azkala gives us a peek into the past and shows us the incredible history of the Silk Road and the people who lived and worked there. It's a reminder of how connected our world has always been. Number 3, the Aral Sea Disaster is a sad story about how humans can accidentally hurt nature. Imagine a huge lake, so big that it was once one of the largest in the world. People lived near it, animals thrived around it, and it was full of fish. This was the Aral Sea, a bustling, lively place. But then something went wrong. During the time of the Soviet Union, people wanted to grow lots of cotton and other crops in the desert areas around the Aral Sea. To do this, they needed a lot of water. So they built massive irrigation projects. These projects took water from the rivers that flowed into the Aral Sea and used it to water the crops. It seemed like a good idea at first, but there was a big problem. The rivers that filled the Aral Sea with water were being used up so much that not enough water was getting to the lake. Slowly, the Aral Sea began to shrink. It got smaller and smaller until much of it was gone. This was a disaster for the environment. The place where fish once swarmed became a dry, salty desert, Plants and animals struggled to survive, and the people who lived by the lake lost their way of life. The air became dusty and unhealthy because of all the salt and chemicals that were left behind. The Aral Sea Disaster shows us how important it is to take care of our planet. It reminds us that everything in nature is connected, and when we change one thing, it can affect so many others. It's a lesson on how we need to think carefully about how we use our natural resources, so we don't cause harm to our environment and to ourselves. Number 4. Uzbekistan is often called the melon capital of the world, and for a good reason. This country is famous for its super sweet and incredibly aromatic melons, especially a kind called Kazakhsky or Kazakh. Imagine biting into the juiciest, most flavorful melon on a hot summer day. That's the kind of treat Uzbekistan offers. Melons are not just a fruit in Uzbekistan. They're a big part of the culture. When melon season comes around, it's like a celebration. People take pride in the variety of melons they grow, each with its own unique taste and smell. These aren't your average melons. They're like the superstars of the melon world. What's even cooler is that Uzbekistan doesn't just grow melons for fun. It's one of the top melon-producing countries in the world. That means lots of sweet, delicious melons enjoyed around the globe come from this vibrant place. The warm, sunny climate and rich soil of Uzbekistan are perfect for growing these fruits, allowing them to develop their signature sweetness and aroma. So next time you enjoy a slice of melon, think about Uzbekistan, the melon capital of the world. It's a place where melons are not just food, but a reason to celebrate, share with others, and enjoy the sweet flavors of nature. Number 5. Lazgi is a super cool dance from Uzbekistan that is all about fun moves, bright costumes, and catchy music. Imagine going to a big party or a festival where everyone is happy, dancing, and celebrating. That's where you'd see Lazgi performed. It's a dance that gets everyone pumped up because it's full of energy and exciting to watch. The dancers wear clothes that are really colorful and eye-catching, making the dance even more special to see. And the music. It's the kind that makes you want to get up and join in, with beats that are easy to move to. Lazgi isn't just any dance. It's a big part of what makes Uzbek culture so awesome. It's a way for people to come together, have a great time, and show off the cool traditions that have been in their country for a long time. When people perform Lazgi, they're not just dancing. They're sharing a piece of their history and what makes them happy with everyone around, including friends, family, and sometimes even tourists. So Lazgi is more than just moving to music. It's about sharing joy, showing pride in where you come from, and having a blast while doing it. It's a reminder that dance is a powerful way to bring people together and celebrate the good times. Number 6. The Silk and Spices Festival is an annual celebration in Bukhara, Uzbekistan, that lights up the city with color, music, and the aroma of delicious foods. This festival is a big deal because it highlights Uzbekistan's important role in the ancient Silk Road's history. Back in the day, Uzbekistan was a central spot where traders from all over the world came to buy and sell goods like silk, spices, and precious items. During the festival, the streets of Bukhara come alive with performances that show off traditional dances and costumes. It's like stepping into a living museum where every dance, move, and piece of clothing that tells a story about Uzbekistan's past. Artisans and crafters also play a big part in the festival, demonstrating how traditional crafts are made. Visitors get to see artists create beautiful works of art right in front of their eyes using techniques that have been passed down through generations. And then there's the food, a feast for the senses, offering the taste of the diverse culinary traditions that have been influenced by the many cultures that pass through the Silk Road. Each dish is a blend of flavors that capture the essence of Uzbekistan's rich history and its place in the world of trade and travel. Number 7. The Mausoleum of Daniel is a special place near the city of Samarkand, and it's famous for a really interesting reason. People believe that the remains of Daniel, a prophet from the Bible, are kept there. What makes this place extra special is that it's important to not just one, but 3 different religions. Muslims, Jews, and Christians all think of it as a holy site. People from all over the world come to see this mausoleum because they believe it has special powers. They think visiting can bring them blessings and even healing. When you get there, you can see that it's not just about these beliefs. The mausoleum is a peaceful place where people feel connected to something bigger than themselves, no matter what religion they follow. Visitors to the Mausoleum of Daniel often leave feeling uplifted or comforted. It's not just about the historical or religious significance. It's about the feeling of peace and hope that seems to fill the air around the ancient site. For many, it's a chance to reflect, pray, and maybe even feel a little closer to history and faith in a very personal way. Number 8. The fortress of Azkala is an ancient marvel sitting in the middle of the Kazilkum Desert. Think of it as a giant sand castle from the past, but instead of being made for play, it was built for protection around the 4th century BC. Now it stands as a silent witness to the history that has swept across the desert sands for centuries. This place isn't just another old ruin. It's a favorite spot for people who love to explore and seek out adventures. When you stand at Azkala, you're treated to an incredible view of the desert that stretches out as far as the eye can see. It's like looking out over an ocean of sand with waves frozen in time. Visiting Azkala is a bit of an adventure itself, considering it's tucked away in a remote part of the desert. But that's exactly what makes it so appealing to those who go there. It offers a chance to step away from the busy world and into a landscape that feels timeless. Number 9. Suzani Embroidery is a beautiful traditional craft from Uzbekistan that turns fabric into stunning works of art. The designs are usually inspired by nature, so you'll see lots of flowers, vines, sometimes even birds and fruits. This isn't just any kind of sewing. Suzani involves careful, detailed work that takes a lot of time and patience. The people who make them are artisans who've learned these techniques from their families, often going back many generations. Number 10. Uzbekistan's Independence Day on September 1st is a huge celebration across the country. It's the day when Uzbekistan marks its independence from the Soviet Union back in 1991. Think of it as a massive birthday party for the entire country, with everyone joining in the festivals. On this day, cities and towns all over Uzbekistan come alive with parades where people march in the street, showing their pride for their country. There's music everywhere, from big concerts with bands playing to smaller, local performances that showcase traditional songs and dances. But it's not just about the parades and music. Independence Day is also a time for cultural events that highlight Uzbekistan's rich history and traditions. I hope you've enjoyed this tour of Uzbekistan. Thanks for watching, and until we meet again, good travels.